is gorgeous out here. It's June 2nd, Zone 7B. I've been through a little bit of an emotional roller coaster with the garden. Side note, my eyes are a little crazy. I had a procedure done this morning. I'm fine. I had some medicine injected to my eyes this morning. I have a condition called uveitis that I manage. Just know I'm fine. It's just a little bit bright. We're out here. We're making the most of this amazing weather. It has been raining. What feels like nonstop for 2 weeks. Today, I want to give you a tour of what is coming up. I'm at the point where what is going to come up is going to come up. I'm just going to take you through and share a little bit about what it's looking like and share a bit about what I definitely know that I'm going to do differently next year. Before we get into it, I just want to say thank you for being here. I love that you're here with me, and I would love for you to come back and keep checking on progress. So go ahead and hit that like button, hit that subscribe, and ring that bell notification. I really just want to share everything that I'm doing with really anybody who could get something from it. Could kind of be part of this little crew. Let's start with vegetables. So by far the most impressive thing are the cucumbers. They all look incredibly healthy. There are a couple little areas on the leaves where there are some holes. It looks like there might be something eating through. Overall, they look a lot healthier than they did last year because we were just constantly spreading neem oil. I can say that it's probably not going to be the most effective trellis. And I kind of had the feeling next year I'm going to use some 8-foot boards, some 8-foot lumber, and just have it be more of a vertical hanging configuration because I really kind of have a feeling that they're going to start to crowd each other out once they start to get tall, and then they're going to go sideways, which is kind of already what's happening. This was probably too many plants for one bed. Oh, oh my goodness. I got to show you that. Wow, I've never seen those before. I'll show you that. I planted marigolds beneath these, and they are kind of getting shaded out, but they are doing pretty well. So I'm not too worried about it. Over here, the tomatoes are coming up. Now, I mentioned in a previous video that I put tomatoes in, and they didn't actually come up until September, October, which was a little ridiculous. And then because they came up so late, we only ended up getting one red tomato, and it wasn't even that impressive. So the tomatoes are coming up. The marigolds are just so incredibly healthy. Those are looking really good. I think kind of the same with these. This might work out. I think I'm just going to need a better solution for next year to encourage more vertical growth, not trying to be wrangling in everything sideways. So I am having to cut off some of the side shoots just to promote some more upward growth. Over here, it's just a little bit crowded. Maybe 2 years ago, planted these herbs. I planted catnip, basil, rosemary, and peppermint. The rosemary really took off during the winter. The catnip has absolutely taken over. The basil looks just incredible. Corner smells awesome. But I do have to really keep on top of the catnip because the rosemary is starting to yellow just a little bit, and I don't want it to get to a point where it's suffocated, and I kind of have a feeling that's what's happening over here in this corner. It looks awesome, and Fleches loves the catnip. All throughout the garden I have little pockets of lavender. So this is a Spanish lavender that Eric picked up from the farmer's market. It is just looking so good right now. This might be too small of a container. Lavender is kind of one of those things that I just kind of place here and there wherever I have some in with the cucumbers, and the yellow and the purple flowers look just so beautiful. I think this is an oak tree. If you know, comment below. I would love to actually know what kind of tree this is. Now, we have giant oaks all over the place. This is the biggest it's gotten. I've usually kept it pretty small, and I have every intention of keeping it really small. I know that oak roots can do a ton of damage to a foundation, and I'm not about to have it popping my deck off. Right now, I actually really love it. It looks so pretty. Just love having the greenery over here, and it creates such a nice shade when sitting on the deck under the pergola. I've got some barbecue rosemary. It's looking really healthy. It's all clay soil. We hired a friend who's a contractor who built our deck, and he dug out a lot of the clay that was under the old deck. So I used that clay to fill in the beds. I didn't know it was going to be so crappy. So I really have to be mindful about what I put over here to make sure that it is something that can withstand the yucky soil and something that's just going to be able to thrive on its own. I'm loving the stone crop right here. It's so soft, and it just needs to continue to establish itself. Moving along, I love this corner. I love this corner. I turned this into my butterfly garden. I focused on perennial plants, things that attract pollinators. Oh, there are bumblebees. Oh, this is just, it's so beautiful. It's so peaceful. This corner used to be such a throwaway corner that I would just kind of put down whatever and not really care about it, but I really wanted to be intentional about this corner. These right here, the tequila sunrise coreopsis, were not looking very good when I picked them up at Lowe's, but everything just looks like it's just absolutely thriving over here, which is great because usually in the past I've planted things. There's always that feeling of like, oh, I did it wrong and it's dying. The milkweed are going to start flowering soon. And I don't remember if these are swamp milkweed or butterfly milkweed. So I don't remember if the flowers are white or red and orange. So I am excited to find out, but I couldn't be more happy with this corner. I really, really love it over here. Never expected them to shoot up this much. How awesome. Considering that I put these in the ground 2 seasons ago, they didn't do anything for the first season. I am probably going to have to look out for them. I might put some netting or twine around them. I just didn't expect them to get this big. So happy coming out here, having my coffee in the morning and just looking at these beautiful Shasta daisies. Nay! Get out there, you. Over here, I used some of the old fencing wood. I still had some of it left, and I put it down to build kind of like a little sunflower area. Now, I did put some netting over it just today because Flaches has been using it as his litter box. So he's been jumping into this bed and scratching away and doing his business. And I got some sweet little seedlings trying to make way through the soil. So I might put some pest netting over this because he is being a pest. Um, this is actually not working because I just caught him. I've got a row of peppers, of all sorts of different types of peppers, and they seem to be doing really well. And I've got some that are coming up over here, and I'm very excited about this little corner. So I'm not too much of a pepper person, but it's really cool to be able to just grow things. And again, of course, I've got my companion plants over here. I've got the marigolds, and I really haven't seen any problem with bugs, but again, I haven't been doing this long enough to know like if is it too early that I would start seeing bugs, like what would that look like? Uh, so far so good. Peony is over here. Now I got one right here and I've got one right here. And they're the same kind of peony, and this one is absolutely massively thriving, and that one is really struggling. The soil is essentially the same in both areas, so I'm wondering if it's the peony roots that I planted. Maybe that one wasn't as strong. My cosmos corner over here, they grow so fast, they just go. So I've got 2 different types of cosmos, so it's nice to see them growing so abundantly over here. And I did stake 2 of them because they can get a little bit wild. Foxglove, I somewhat expected that this was going to happen. They're shedding their flowers. It was just a bigger plant. I planted them a little later in the season, and I think they're just trying to get established. Some other things that I'm going to do differently next year is I don't have a lot of crop that are going to be coming up with some of the Like the carrots, for example, I planted those too close together, so I'm not expecting to have a lot of carrot. Some of this is just, it's really just experimental, and I'm knowing a little better for next year of what I can do to produce more of a harvest. I really do want to add some edges using some 2x4s, not pressure treated, but just being able to close everything in and create better rows, have more of a flow to this area, not so much just the perimeter planting, but really have these rows be intentional with the purpose of producing food, because that's essentially what I'm doing over here. I intend to put some netting over here on these stakes so that as they climb up, I can attach them to the netting. Radishes are over here. Again, it's just kind of one of those things. It's very experimental this year, and I might not get more than like 3 radishes, maybe. I know what I'm going to do differently next year, and that is to plant things in better rows, designated planting areas. Right over here, I have my cherry tomatoes. That over there is a bare root blackberry, semi-erect trailing bush plant. It's done nothing. Maybe it's not going to do anything, and that's fine. I'll know, I do something different next year to try to get a blackberry bush established. In here, I've just got my leftover soil, so I did try to sprout some sweet potatoes. They didn't do anything, but I actually looked today, and one of the little roots that came out, one of the little eyes is sprouting a leaf. See if it does anything. If anything, I might get some really cool sweet potato vines, which I think are really beautiful. So, again, we'll see. I've got just regular romaine lettuce over here. It's actually starting to look like lettuce, which is so cool to see. I just discovered after evaluating the hydrangea that they got some sort of like slug growth on them. Yeah, if you know what any of this stuff is, please comment down below. It kind of looks like a white filmy kind of crispiness on the leaves, and some of them kind of look like they're enclosing some sort of slug or maybe a moth. But if you know what this is, please definitely comment down below. This one also has whatever was going on with that one. So if you know what it is, I would love to know, because I want to save these babies, right? Save these babies. If you asked me maybe 2 months ago, I would have wanted to take this path up and do something better to clean it up just right over here, but I don't mind it as much, especially with extending the pavers all the way over here. But I do intend to clean up the lines. This pathway has just been awesome. It's almost like when you find those little things that just work, and it feels like it was supposed to be like that the whole time. What do you have? Is it yum yums? Right here in this area where I'm standing, I would love to put a greenhouse. So it has been emotionally taxing. It has been very draining putting seeds in the ground and babysitting them and just making sure that they're protected and that they come up. But I imagine that the greenhouse is going to go right over here and have some nice pathways over to the fire pit, and just kind of have it be like a little garden moment. Come on. The brand new mulch bed for this year is this whole area. Take a look at my first video that I posted on this channel, and you'll see what this area used to look like. So I had a chip drop, and it took me about 3 weeks to get this mulch distributed. I really love what I've done with this area because it's such a perfect area for growing full sun plants. Something I'll do differently next year is I am going to not do the landscape fabric. It has been a burden. It has just gotten in the way. I've cut it away in certain areas, and the weeds underneath it are still growing. I'm going to take out the fabric next year. I'm going to enclose the beds with some 2x4s. Just give it a more defined space for the flowers. I think the netting is working out pretty well, so I'll probably do the same thing next year. Over here are my sunflowers. I planted them pretty close together so they shouldn't get too giant. Some of them are doing really, really well. So it's been a toss up of how some seedlings have done compared to others. That's why I say I'm looking forward to having a greenhouse so I could start my seeds indoors. Get down a method where everything is consistent, then you can at least have a little bit more control because you really can't control much once they go into the ground. This bed is strange. This bed has terrible, terrible soil. I won't even say that it's a pure experiment. I mean, no, I say experiment. I want things to do well. I don't want the things I put into the ground to die. And I know I may have planted some of these things a little bit too late, but this grass right here, I can't remember what kind of grass it's called. It is kind of starting to push itself upright. The lilies have done really, really well over here. I've got some more lilies back there. There is a foxglove. This baby girl is trying to hang on as long as she can. It hasn't shed its flowers the way the ones in the backyard have. And I've got a clematis. The front yard has often been a throwaway where I haven't really given it much thought because I've been so focused on the backyard. I built this planter. Now I put a finish on it. I don't think it was an outdoor specific finish. So I am eventually going to have to sand this and refinish it. So maybe I'll do that in an upcoming video, fixing some of my DIYs. Over here, I put the boxwood that I've moved about. It actually looks like it's doing much better. I had mentioned in a previous video that I have transplanted this thing maybe 4 separate times, and it does seem to be doing better over here. This is my little Salvia patch. I used to have this in a container, but I was really interested in having it grow a little more abundantly. The soil over here sucks. It is my intention to have things over here that are pretty resilient. Oh, that doesn't look great. Well, my grasses, this grass over here, I just discovered that it is shedding. I'm just gonna have to come out and clean up some of this. Just keep an eye on it. I planted Lobelia. In other videos, I was saying Lobelia. Nothing has sprouted. That's fine. Actually, I have some babies down here. They do take a while, so I'm going to be patient. I'm not going to start to scrape over these areas where these little babies are trying to get established. I put some mulch down next to the mailbox. This was very empty area, and it's still an empty area, and I haven't focused on it. And I do want to fill this area up with some drought tolerant plants and drought tolerant perennials. And it just is not going to be a focus this year. Here's the side yard, which we haven't just talked about at all. This is very much going to be a next year thing. I don't have the bandwidth to do anything about it this year. I've originally stopped the gravel path over there, but I do still kind of imagine of having some sort of path going all the way this way, or at least some flagstone. As far as a larger vision for this yard, for this space, it would be so cool to have some garden rooms, beautiful shrubs, azaleas of all different colors, to just get rid of some more of the grass. The grass, there's like no grass over here. It's just all clover and random weeds. A couple months ago, I took out some brick that were lining just kind of over here. It didn't really make sense, and it never really went with the vibe that I really wanted for over here. The landscape edging is also very much warping. It really doesn't look that good because it's plastic. My intention is to put in some lumber and paint that black so I have some nice straight lines. And then with this path right here, I would love to put in pavers surrounded by some pebbles, but I'm not completely committed to that because while I want it to look nice, I also need it to be functional. And if we're going to be going in and out all the time, I don't want to have to risk kicking the pebbles around or any sort of maintenance to do with pebbles. I know that you can get mulch glue, but I really don't want to have the maintenance of continuously applying glue. While this area is disgustingly unfinished, which is fine, I'm still kind of thinking on what I can do. The video is eventually going to be a project on the channel because it I have to do something with this. All right, everyone. So that's where I'm going to end the video. Really, thank you so much for watching. I feel now we're kind of in the home stretch of how things are going to do. I mentioned at the beginning of the video, it's just more so about like things are going to do whatever they're going to do right now. I hope you stick around. I've got a lot of really cool projects planned for the future because I got a lot coming up, and I'm excited to share with you some of the vegetables that start coming up in the next few weeks because we've already got some showing. And yeah, just thank you for being part of the journey. Hey!